G'day everyone, welcome to another puzzle combat video here with Governor. So in this video, the primary focus, it's going to be the first of two hero review series, as well as a couple summons as well at the end of this one. So this one, it's going to be looking at these new seasonal heroes that have just dropped into the game, the summer event heroes. So it's a new portal, brand new heroes. In total, there are 8 new heroes, 5 5-star heroes or 5 legendaries, and 3 epic heroes. So there's no 3-star rare heroes in this portal. The new heroes, they're linked to this summer event, which is going on at the moment, which is called the Beach Party. You can see there I've finished easy and normal mode already, collected the rewards and the avatars, and I'm about to start working through hard mode, which I'll probably record and pop that one up as a video. And I'm going to try to probably do stages 19 or probably maybe just 20 using only 3-star heroes. So we'll see how that goes as a video, and it might take an attempt or two to get it right, but yeah, we'll see how that one goes. But anyway, this video, as I said, it's going to be focusing in on reviewing these new 5-star and 4-star summer event heroes. So in total, we've got the 5 5-stars and the 3 4-stars. So there's Hanalei, Hudson, Delphine, Koa, the first of the 4-stars, Finlay, Makani, second of the 4-stars, Lana, WeuWeu, and that's it for the heroes. So I'll go through all of these heroes, sort of compare them in terms, and have a bit of a look at their stats, their skills, and all that kind of thing. But first we must take a quick overview look at this new family. So the family is called the Water Fight family. Yeah, I don't really like the name of it, but that's what it is. So I'm just going to be probably calling it the Water family or something like that throughout the video. So the effect reads that this hero is a member of the Water Fight family. Water Fight heroes have a 10% chance to trigger Soothing Waves bonus effect after casting their special skills. So when Soothing Waves triggers, it recovers 13% health to all allies. There's also a passive stat bonus for using multiple unique heroes. The emphasis is on the word each unique hero of the same family, and that's a defense bonus. So you gain 3, 6, 9, or 12% defense boost for the heroes of the family if you've got 2, 3, 4, or even 5 heroes of the same family in your team. So overall, the defense boost side of things, so 3, 6, 9, 12%, it's pretty standard, it's not massive, it's a nice little boost. It's not really enough to warrant having multiple heroes on your defense team purely for that effect. It will give you a little bit of a rise, but for comparison's sake, you can basically grab 2 of the Raiders heroes, which give an attack boost, and it only ends up being like plus 15 attack for using 2 heroes of the same family. So if you're using Zuri and 8-bit together, or 8-bit and Cooper, for example, it only ends up being like a plus 15 to plus 20 attack bonus for having 2 of the same. So you can see it's not much, it's a little bit, not really worth doing it for that alone. In terms of the Soothing Waves, so the 10% chance to occur whenever they cast their special skills, granting 13% healing for all allies. So this is actually a pretty good effect. It's comparable to the Raiders one, which gives you a heal over time. It's probably a bit more overall healing. So for a 5-star hero, if this triggers from Hudson, it's about 175-ish HP for the 5-star heroes. Off a 4-star hero, it's only about 150, but you know, it's still a little bit of a bonus. Probably the best comparison in the game is the Medic class talents, which at node 15, so that's 5 out of 5 for that talent, will give you a 15% chance to do 7% healing. So the Medic talent is probably going to proc more often because it occurs, or it has a chance to occur every time they take damage, rather than just when they cast special skills. But when it does occur, it does a little bit less healing than this Soothing Waves effect does. So realistically, if you're in a fight and you've got one of these heroes, you can probably expect your hero to cast their special skill 2 to 3 times on average per fight. So you can probably expect for this effect to trigger every 2nd or 3rd fight thereabouts, probably a bit more often than that, but just as a bit of a rough guide. So in terms of the heroes themselves, so we'll start off looking at the legendary heroes, and then we'll move on to the epics after that. So We'll start off with Delphine. So she is a 5-star purple of spy class. She's got 657 attack, 663 defense, 1381 HP. So overall, these are fairly balanced stats. It's nothing huge on any one of those stats, but it is pretty middle tier for all of them. She is 49 charge speed, which is average, so requires 11 tiles to charge her special skill. If you can manage to get her a +1 speed, so if you pick up the emblem node, for example, on her, it does drop it down to just being 10 tiles to charge. In terms of her special skill, her skill is called Rip Current, so it deals 200% damage to all enemies, and then increases the duration of status ailments on all enemies by 2 turns. So 200% damage on 657 attack ends up being about 1,314 attacking power. So in terms of all the other DOA 5 heroes in the legendary region, this is pretty mid-range. The biggest one is Scarlet, who ends up hitting 3 times though over 3 turns. But for some other comparisons, you've got, Tremor, who ends up with 1357 or 1357 attack power at also average speed. Barbed Wire, who's a little bit slower, she ends up with 1664. You've got Rudolph, the legendary from the Christmas event, has 1334. Stone, who's slow speed as well, he has 1350. And you've also got Marina, who's got 1415. So probably the closest two that you can compare Delphine to are Krampus and Vigo. So Krampus has a lot more defensively geared stats, and he does do less damage out, but his secondary effect is that buff reallocation and ailment reallocation. Vigo has very similar stats distribution. He does less direct damage, and he is slow charge speed, but he has got more poison damage, which does substantially boost his damage output. So for Delphine, that status ailment, or in terms of the damage output, as I said, she's pretty middle tier in terms of the damage that she does. The status ailment duration increase, it could be quite powerful if you combined it with the right heroes. So if, for example, you use both Delphine and Vigo together, so you cast Vigo first, let the DOT start ticking, and then you cast Delphine afterwards, what she will do is she will increase or reset basically the duration of, it'll actually just reset it, the number of DOT ticks that it does. So instead of it only being damage over 3 turns, it goes to damage over 5 turns. So it essentially puts a 66% multiplier on the amount of damage that poison damage does. So she would be, well, in my opinion, she's a pretty okay support hero. She wouldn't be one that you'd pick to be an out-and-out damage hero. That's just not really fitting with her build. But combined with the right heroes, say a big DOT, or damage over time, like Vigo or even Horato, the red 5-star, she could be quite useful. So overall, I'd put her as a middle tier hero. Not great, but not terrible either. I'd say there are probably a large number of 5-star purple legendaries that would and should get the ghillie suits before her. Hudson. So Hudson is a 5-star red. He has got assault class as his thing. He's got 668 attack, 661 defense, and 1359 HP. So those stats are fairly, well, they're pretty much middle of the road as well in terms of the legendary 5-star reds. His speed is average at 50, meaning he needs 10 tiles in order to charge. In order to drop it down to 9 tiles, he does need +8 additional speed to make it 58, which is basically you can only do with a 5-star legendary weapon, the Chekhov SVK and the Fire Twig, which was last month's weapon of the month. Or you can possibly do it, I'd have to run the maths, but you could possibly do it with the 4-star speed gun and the emblem node, but I don't know for certain on that one. I think it might get close, but not quite over the line. So yeah, his reasonably balanced stats overall. His special skill is that he deals 245% damage to the target and minor damage to nearby enemies. So what that minor damage to nearby enemies means is it's half of the listed percentage. So in this case, it's dealing 123.5% damage to the nearby enemies. The target and nearby enemies receive 282 damage over 3 turns. If the target has armor, it deals all the damage instantly instead. So overall, if we ignore the quote-unquote minor damage to nearby enemies, basically Hudson is one of 6 available snipers in the fire color, the red color, sorry. And he's also one of 3 target and minor damage to nearby in red alone. So of that, he's actually the 2nd worst available sniper, coming in at just 1637 attack power. So that's the 245% multiplied by 668. Comparatively, you've got, Ridge, who is out and out the best, who is also a target and minor damage to nearby. He has an attack power of 3636. You've also got Delmar, who's doing 3487 when he's hitting someone with 100% charge. The only ones he's really better than is Xander, who was a previous Hero of the Month. He's out and out the worst available red sniper. And then you've also got Blair, who on her base damage, when she's not attacking armor and you're not factoring in her burn damage, she's actually quite weak in terms of her direct damage. But Blair is also fast mana, and Hudson is average mana, so you'd expect it to be a little bit worse. The other one that's worth comparing him to right now is this Blockbuster character, who's the current Hero of the Month. He's got 2135 attack power and also does damage to nearby enemies as well. But I'm going to do a full Blockbuster review in probably the next video that goes up on my channel. So it is worth noting that he does get some additional DOT damage over time in that 282 damage, but it's really not a huge amount of DOT damage. If you compare it to Blair, who I said was quite weak in her initial strike damage without attacking armor, Blair ends up getting 368 damage over 2 turns. So it's actually more burn damage and is able to propagate out if you manage to kill the enemy, whereas Hudson just does 282. So, for comparison's sake, Hudson as a seasonal hero is he's a pretty low grade sniper. You can pretty much pick any other red sniping or damage dealing hero and they're going to be better than Hudson. So, and that's just in red alone. That's not even looking at any of the other colors that are out there. So, yeah, so far we've had one okay support hero in Delphine, and Hudson is pretty low down the list. Lana, she is a 5-star green hero. She is Recon class, which is one of my favorite classes out there. She's got 657 attack, 679 defense, and 1347 HP. So overall, these are pretty middle range stats with the attack and HP. Her defense is actually the 2nd highest green defense stat in the game currently. Just in green, that's not looking at the other colors. So she is a little bit defensively geared in terms of her stats, but it's more towards the balanced middle point more than anything. In terms of her special skill, she's got 210% damage to the target and nearby enemies. So that's full 210% to both all 3 targets. Oh, sorry. She's also got charge speed 48, which is average. It's the slower average, meaning that it is 11 tiles to charge. In order to get down to 10 tiles, she needs to pick up 2 speed points to get to 50, and that'll break her to 10 tiles. So the only way to do this is with the Trailblazer weapon. Trailblazer? Yeah, I think it's the Trailblazer. Anyway, it's a past hero, weapon of the month. There's not actually any available 3-star, green speed guns otherwise, which is kind of sucky, but that's the only way that you can break her at the moment. The speed node is not enough to do it on her class tree. So in terms of the special skill, as I said, 210% damage to the target and nearby enemies. She then also summons a rubber duck minion. I do not like the whole rubber duck minions thing. I think it is quite for a combat puzzles game. But anyway, so we've got summons a rubber duck minion for the caster and nearby allies, which has 8% HP and 8% attack inherited from the caster. So regardless of who the minion goes on, it gets its stats from Lana. The minion's target, whenever it strikes, gets minus 60 attack for 3 turns when it hits them. This does not stack up with itself, it's worth noting. So if you've got 3 rubber duck minions and they all hit the same enemy, it still just does minus 60 attack. It doesn't build up to being 180 minus attack. It is still just 60, and it just resets the duration on the timer. So it does minus 60 attack for 3 turns. The caster and nearby allies get plus 28% crit chance for 3 turns. So diving into this one, I'll just put it out there right now. Lana is a really subpar hero, in my opinion. So in terms of her damage itself, at 210% damage, 210% at 657 attack stat is only 1379 attack power on 3. So this is really low in terms of the damage output that she can do. In total, there's 19 DOA 3 heroes or DOA 3 legendary, so that's at target and nearby legendary heroes in the game. Of those, Lana is the 4th worst. So just taking that completely as it is, the only 3 that are worse than her are Horato, the red 5-star legendary, who has an insane amount of burn damage that he does. Mirage, who has a silence for 3 enemies, so also extremely powerful. And Xavier, who's got charge control, where he cuts the enemy's charge, and also accuracy elements on the hit enemies. So for comparison, those are the only 3 that are worse than Lana. You've got heaps in the green that are actually better than Lana, right? You've got Hairwear, who can kick out a lot more damage than Lana. Sorry, I'm just going to pull it up. I didn't actually pre-prepare this specific section. So in the rest of green, you've got Dasher as well, who's dealing out a huge amount more damage because she has a massive attack stat, and a bigger damage percentage as well. You've got Powell, who's got a bigger attack stat, more damage output. You've got as well Vincent and Wolf, who are both much bigger larger attack stats, but also larger percent damage. So, of the greens alone, so only looking at those available 6 heroes in green legendaries, Lana is the worst in terms of her damage output for a DOA 3. In terms of the minions, I'm going to put it out right now. The minions, these rubber duck minions, are terrible compared to all of the other minions in the game. They're just woeful. Their stats are just way too low. 8% HP and 8% attack for Lana at maximum level gives 107 HP and 53 attack power. These are on Lana specifically, it's the second worst minions in the game. The only ones that are worse than her are Finlay and Hanalei. So the 3 seasonal heroes that are making minions, Lana, Finlay, and Hanalei, have the worst minions in terms of attack and HP. So for comparison, so I'll just put them all out there now. Finlay makes 105 HP minions, Lana makes 107, Hanalei makes 117. Some of the other minion makers, you've got Nima, who makes 281 HP minions, Talon, who makes 138 HP minions, Booster, who makes 135, and Perla, who makes 134. So all of them have got more HP than Lana, any of these minions do. In terms of the attacks, this is also really tiny. At only 53 attack power, Finlay's is 58 and Hanalei's is 50. Comparing that to Talon's minions, which have 137 attack power. Perla's have 121. So these are both double the stats of Hanalei's minions. So, in terms of the minions, comparing them to the other ones, they're terrible. They're just, too small percentages of the base stats of the legendary heroes. In terms of the minion effect, minus 60 attack is also relatively small. It ends up being about 9% attack debuff on an average 5-star hero, going up against PvE stuff. So when you're going into their maps, events, and that kind of thing, it's actually going to be less because those heroes have got higher base stats than those enemies have higher base stats than the heroes do. If you compare it, as I said, to any of the heroes that do attack ailments, it is substantially worse. The only benefit is that it might being the operative word, reset itself a number of times, and it might hit all 5 enemies. But realistically, they're really quite ineffective. If you compare it to some of the other minion effects in the games, you've got Talon's minions, who does 129 HP DOT over 3 turns. You've got Nima's minions, which gives 7% healing every turn, so that's 93 HP. So Nima's minions heal for almost as much HP as Lana's minions are in one turn. So not only are they bulkier, they're over double the HP of them, so they're providing more of a meat shield. They're actually kicking out pretty much the same amount of HP as what those minions are giving you as well. Anyway, Booster, her minions also give 6% charge. So, overall, as I said, Lana, in my opinion, is a really subpar hero. If you're wanting minions, go for a proper minion making hero. If you've got them. If you're wanting DOA, like a damage dealing hero, pick one that actually deals damage. The only thing that kind of saves Lana is that crit boost, giving plus 28% attack, plus 28% crit damage for 3 turns to the caster nearby. But if you're wanting that, go with Sarah. She's a 4-star green hero, does 38% crit damage, like crit chance. So, and on top of that, she actually kicks out almost the same amount of damage output. So Sarah has 2.37 or 237% attack times by her 554 attack stat. So she ends up having 1,313 attack power compared to Lana's, which is 1,379. So it's barely 60 more, and she's a 4-star hero and, does pretty much the same thing. So anyway, I'm not going to keep going on with Lana. I think she's a really bad hero overall. I apologize if you did get her. I would highly recommend not leveling her and not maxing her out, because I think you will do much better with other available heroes. All right, so we'll grab Finlay next. So Finlay is the blue 5-star legendary blue hero. I said blue twice there. He is sharpshooter class. Overall, I think Finlay is probably the best hero you could hope to get out of this portal. And I'll explain all of that in a bit. But anyway, so he's sharpshooter class. He is unfortunately the same class then as Visor, who's another 5-star blue legendary hero, and is also a sniper, so that's probably going to be one of the best comparisons. Finlay's got 724 attack stat, 612 defense, and 1314 HP. These stats are geared more towards his attack. It's actually the 4th best blue attacking hero in terms of that power. Attack power, sorry. It's also quite low in defense and HP, so it's the 4th worst and 3rd worst blue legendary hero in defense and HP respectively. His charge speed is 50 at average, so that's a 10 tile charge speed. In order to break into 9 tiles, you need to get him with +8, so you can do that with a couple different speed weapons that are available in blue. So you've got the Regalizer Magnum, and you've also got the Ice Breath Saw, which came out a couple months ago. So yeah, overall, he's pretty balanced, or not balanced. He's very attack oriented, which works well with the sharpshooter class, where it has the ability to bypass defense buffs, which basically increases his power even more. In terms of his skill, so he's got deals 295% damage to the target. It can deal an additional 60% damage when hitting a target with status ailments. It then summons a rubber duck minion for the caster and nearby allies with 8% attack, 8% HP inherited from the caster, and the minion's targets gain -60 attack for 3 turns when the minion hits them. So in terms of that damage there, so 295% damage at 724 attack power ends up being 2,135. If you can manage to hit someone with an ailment, it can jump all the way up to 2,570 with that bonus 60%. So overall, there are 9 blue snipers, including Finlay, in the legendary tier. With that basic attack, so the 295% without hitting an ailment, it's actually quite low. It's only just better than Face Off, who does damage to the nearby enemies as well, and also does that charge ailment, where he stops the target from gaining charge. However, that boosted damage though is actually quite good. There's only a couple that are higher than Finlay, and those are Pantera, the blue 5-star from Grand Heist. When he's hitting someone specifically with armor, he gains an additional 70% damage. And then the other one is Visor, who gains an additional 200% damage if he hits someone with less than 50% health. So essentially, essentially Finlay, when you can hit someone with an ailment, any ailment, it doesn't matter what the ailment is, it ends up being quite high. There's 2 that are higher than it, and it's actually pretty much exactly the same as Shocker, the 5-star legendary blue from Zombies. It's almost exactly the same amount of attack power as that. So in saying that, it is actually quite easy to control hitting someone with an ailment, as it can literally be anything. It can be anything from a defense debuff, so from, say, Marina. It doesn't have to be a color-specific one. It can be literally anything. It could be a ailment from a master weapon quest gun. So if you equip the blue 4-star poison gun to someone like Hollow Point and put, poison damage out on everyone, that's an ailment. So it'll kick in for that. Or the other one, which is actually kind of cool, and it's the only real synergy I've found with this, is it can actually come from Finlay's own minions. So if he charges once, hits someone, he then gains 2 minions, 1 or 3 minions, one for himself and one for people on either side of him. Those minions then kick out an attack ailment. So if you charge Finlay again, whack someone that got hit with that attack ailment, it kicks in the extra damage as well. So there is a little bit of decent synergy there within Finlay's skill, possibly a little bit also with another of the legendary or any of the other summer event heroes. But yeah, that's pretty much it. In terms of the minions, I won't go back into it again. As I said before, they're pretty terrible in their health and damage that they are able to deal out. The only benefit for Finlay is that internal synergy I talked about there, in terms of the attack ailment linking back and assisting with his primary damaging special skill. So overall, I think Finlay is quite a good blue hitter. He's definitely worth leveling if you get him. I would probably level Visor or Shocker before Finlay, but he is still probably, in my opinion, the pick of the legendary heroes in this portal. All right, we've got 2 to go in the legendaries. So, or 1 to go actually, because I touched on Hudson before. So the only one we've got left is Hanalei. Hanalei, I have no idea how to pronounce it properly. She is a yellow legendary hero. She's support class, which is the same class as Terminus and a couple other good heroes like Perla and that. She's got 619 attack stat, 670 defense stat, and 1463 HP. So overall, these stats are definitely geared towards the defensive side of things, in terms of the balance of them. At 36 charge, she is the slowest hero in this portal from the event heroes. So at 36 and slow, she needs 12 tiles to charge. In order to go to 11, she needs +6. So you can do that with the Ragnarok Vantage, which was a previous weapon of the month in yellow. Or you can also do it quite easily using the Triss Vector, which is a 4-star speed gun, which gives +7. So that's easy enough to occur. In terms of her special skill, it's called To the Rescue. So it increases the duration of buffs on all allies by 2 turns. It then summons a rubber duck minion for the caster and nearby allies with 8% HP, 8% attack inherited from the caster. The minions targets get -60 attack for 3 turns when it hits them, so same as all the other ones. And then all allies gain +180 attack for 3 turns. So there's no damage whatsoever from this hero, so she is 100% a supporting hero. There is, no damage that she's going to be kicking out. The minions, I'm again not going to go into them again. They're still terrible. Just if you missed it, go back, see the Lana section for more details there. So they're only getting 117 HP and 50 attack, which is really low. In terms of the other effects in there, so we've got the increases the buff duration on all allies by 2 turns. Honestly, I cannot see any major synergy and application for this. I think it's going to be quite niche and very situational. It could work with some specific heroes, but I cannot see it being game-changing in attack or in defense. The only ones that it might really work well with are ones like armor over time or health over time heroes. So, like Ksenia's or Horatos and that kind of thing, or even Pavati. Pavati is probably going to be the best synergy because her buff increases by +128 armor every turn that they're not hit. So it actually would get up to quite crazy stupid levels if you manage to work that one in. The other one that it could work well with is someone like Nima, who's got that yellow protection, like that ailment protection for all yellow heroes, and also that purple defense buff. So it could work well with Pika, but then you're taking 2 support heroes who aren't dealing out any damage, and they've both got quite low attack stats. So I don't know if you'd really use that as a strategy against, say, war machines or something like that, but something to consider. The last line, all allies gain plus 180 attack for 3 turns. This is pretty standard. It's decent because it is to all allies. It is unfortunately at slow charge. So, if you compare it to Brock, he is average speed, so 50 charge. He does 180 attack buff for all at 50. Logan, 5-star blue, plus 180 for all allies at average 49. The only one that Hanalei is really better than directly is Min, the 5-star vanilla yellow hero, but Min has a crit buff, which in my opinion is insanely better than a minor attack buff. So, pros and cons. If you compare Hanalei to other support heroes in yellow, you've really got Pika, Nima, and Terminus. So, you've got Terminus, who can revive all allies, or revive, has 4 chances at 50% to revive some allies. That's really good. The damage that he does if he doesn't revive them, not so good, but the revive is insane. Pika has instant heal, which is the best effect you can get from a support hero. But then on top of that, you've got the ability to heal even more every time a special skill is cast. You've got Nima, who has the minions, so it's an instant, essentially an instant heal via Meat Shield. The minions then do additional healing, which is actually more than the minions that Hanalei can produce. So, again, go back to the Lana section if you want to hear more about the minions and that little rant. But Nima's minions kick Hanalei's minions' asses. It's also got the defense buff against purple and the status ailment immunity. So again, better than pretty much anything that Hanalei is giving out. So yeah, as I said, Hanalei, really all she's doing is the buff increase and an attack buff at a lot slower speed than some other options you can get, and some very meh minions. So overall, I would put Hanalei as a low priority yellow hero. She could go okay as a secondary support hero for another hero that's kicking out pretty decent buffs like Pika, Nima, or as I said, Pavati is probably going to be the best link that you can make with Hanalei in terms of pairing it out and getting insane amounts of armor. But overall, I would say that Hanalei is quite low priority in the yellow department. So, yeah. Alright, so that finishes up the 5-star heroes. As I said at the start, none of them are really great heroes. Like I said, the best one is probably Finlay, just because of that damage he's able to produce, and the rest of them are pretty low priority in terms of their respective colours. And the only one I would out and out say not to level at all would probably be Lana. But that's just my personal preference. I don't really value any of what she's doing. I think there's better options for all of it. And the other one is probably Hudson, is the other one I'd probably say not to really worry about leveling, because again, you can get equivalent amounts of damage from other heroes. So yeah, in terms of the 4-stars, there's the 3 of them in this portal. So you've got WeuWeu, Makani, and Kawa there. So with Makani, Makani is a 4-star blue hero. He's assault class. So he's got, oops, get rid of that. Yeah, so he's got 605 attack stats, 522 defense, and he's also got 1121, so 1121 HP. So he's got all of that stuff. It's very attack oriented, so he's quite low on his defense stat. The HP is still pretty average, but it's pretty attack oriented. He's got 58 charge speed, so that kicks in at fast, which is 9 tiles to charge. If you want to drop it to 8, you do need to give him a +6 to get it to 64, which again is quite easy to do with blue. You can't do it with a 4-star gun or the 3-star gun. You can only do it with one of the legendary 5-star options, but you can do it with the gun at 4-40. So you don't need to max it out to full stretch in order to get that. In terms of his special skills, so his special skill is titled Tempest Slice. So it deals 270% damage to the target with minor damage to nearby enemies. So again, minor damage to nearby enemies is 50% of the written percentage. So that's 135% damage to the nearby enemies. He then increases the duration of status ailments on the target and nearby enemies by 2 turns. So So in terms of his damage output, so, you know, he's predominantly an attacking hero. He's geared attack in terms of his stats. So 270% with 605 attack stat ends up being 1,633 attack power, with minor or half that to the nearby enemies. So that's about 815 odd attack to the nearby. In terms of comparisons, you've got a lot of damage dealing 4-star heroes. So in blue alone, you know, you've got Kayla, who's doing 2,579. So she's the vanilla 4-star blue sniping hero. And you've got Jack Rabbit, who's from Spring Tech, who's dealing 1,311. So he's kind of middle of the tier. If you rank all of the quote-unquote snipers, Makani is actually the 4th worst one in terms of the damage to the target. And the only ones which are worse are ones like Thalia, who has a full team Dispel, Rex, who is the same as Thalia with full team Dispel, and Osung from the Mercenary event, the purple one, who can actually chain to all 5 enemies. So even though he's got quite low attack power, you know, it does balance out with the number of enemies that you can hit. So you can see there a full list of all of the quote-unquote 4-star snipers. And yeah, you can see Makani is very low down that list, shall we say. Pretty much all of the other ones in that list are hitting, you know, like 2000s range for the good ones, and the average ones are, you know, 17, 1800, and the bad ones are lower. So in terms of his secondary effect there, the increased duration of status ailments on the target and nearby enemies by 2 turns. Again, same as with Delphine, I think this is quite situational. Again, it could work well with damage over time heroes, but in the 4-star region, there's not really any of those that are kicking out large amounts of damage. Add to that, it's only target and nearby enemies compared to Delphine, who is all enemies. But the difference is he's doing this at fast charge speed. So, you know, there is a little bit more benefit there. And as a 4-star hero, he's also a lot quicker and cheaper to emblem and use. So overall, though, his primary ability is to deal damage, and he's quite poor at that. So I'd probably advise doing, you know, multiples of Kayla if you're needing a sniper. If you're wanting to do damage to multiple targets, do multiples of Jackrabbit and Weisheng before doing really any of Makani for me. So disappointing way to start, but you know, Koa. So Koa is the red 4-star hero. He is Demolitions class. Again, there are an insane amount of red Demolitions heroes. You've got Astrid and Foxtrot, who are also 4-star red Demolitions heroes. And then you've got 4 additional ones in the 5-star region. So no other class has this kind of weighting towards a single color, but you know, there you go. Red's got it. So in terms of his stats, so he's got 526 attack, 571 defense, and 1,217 HP. So overall, these are fairly defensively built, which kind of works in with having a slow charge speed and a damaging, quote-unquote damaging, special skill. So the stats are actually almost identical to Jet Set, the 4-star red mercenary hero. Mechanoid hero. So yeah, his special skill, Brimstone Blast, it's got 36 charge speed, which is slow. So this is the 12 tiles to charge slow. You need to give him +7 in order to hit 11 tiles, which is possible with the Tiger Happy or Tigger Happy gun, the 4-star red, and also possible with a legendary gun. So it is doable, but it is still 11 tiles. So in terms of his damage output, so he's dealing, or his special skill, we'll just go through that. So he deals 175% damage to all enemies. He then gives burn ailment to all enemies, which gives them minus 198 damage, or minus 198 HP over 3 turns. And then all enemies get minus 80 attack for 3 turns. So in terms of that damage output, so 175% at 526 attack stat is 921 attacking power. This is actually very middle of the road for 4-star heroes. So yeah, so you know, you can compare it to some of the other ones. It's almost identical in its attack power to 8-bit, the yellow 4-star hero from Raiders. Some of your other options, you know, you've got Hollow Point, who is one of the worst, only worsened by Edge, who has poison damage instead. It's fairly comparable to Mo, the 4-star yellow hero, who's also slow speed, also has burn ailment and all of that. It's a little bit less, but Mo also doesn't have this attack ailment, which is the last line. So yeah, he's pretty okay for that. In terms of the burn, as I said, 198 over 3 turns at slow speed. You know, some other ones that you can compare to, you've got Mo, who does 240 burn, so he's also at slow speed. So it's 42 less than Mo's got. You've got Grizzle G, the 4-star yellow from Grand Heist, who's got 172 over 4 turns, so better than that. It is the same DOT as Edge, but Edge does it at fast speed, but also has less initial damage. So, you know, pros and cons. The attack debuff, so minus 80 to all enemies. If you're looking just at 4-star heroes, this is about a 14% attack ailment, so it's pretty okay. It is worth noting it's better than all of the minions that are getting produced by any other heroes. So there is that as well. Some of the other ones, you know, you've got Kayla, who's doing minus 112 to 1 target, Zuri, who's doing minus 144 to 3 targets. So, you know, there's a couple options that are that are better than Koa, and they're also doing it faster. So overall, he's a decent supporting hero that can deal a fair amount of damage with his burn in red. But I'd say you can probably pick any other red 4-star hero and you're going to get better bang for buck. The only ones that I'd say to pick Koa over are ones like Sanai and maybe Astrid, and possibly also Paladin. So, yeah, unfortunately, not a great hero again. So that brings us to the last hero, which is, I've lost him now, WeuWeu. So kind of a stupid name. So he's a green 4-star sentry hero. He's got 560 attack, 558 defense, and 1160 HP. These are very balanced stats overall. They're middle rank for all of them. His speed is 50, which is average. It needs 10 tiles to charge. To drop it to 9 tiles, you do need to get a +7 and get it to 57 speed, which is actually quite hard to do for green. There's not very many speed guns available. In fact, it's impossible. The closest you can get is +6 with the Relic Hunter Bargo gun. Yeah, so that's +6, and then you need an emblem node as well in order to kick it over the line. So his special skill is called Jungle Beat. It deals 235% damage to the target and nearby enemies. It then summons another rubber duck minion for the caster, and this is only the caster. It's not for nearby as well, like was the case with the legendaries. It's got 8% HP, 8% attack also. The minion's target gets -60 attack for 3 turns whenever they hit. So going through that bit by bit, so you've got the damage itself. So there's 5 other green DOA 3 or Effect 3 heroes. And of these, WeuWeu is kind of in the middle. You know, you've got Pipalak and Elif who are better than him. Sarah and Zuri base damage Zuri when she's not hitting armor are worse. If you can get Zuri to hit armored enemies, it actually ends up being the best at 1461. But WeuWeu at 235% of 560 is 1316. So middle tier, fairly even with all the other options. The minions themselves, again, they are pretty terrible. You've got 8% HP, which gives 92 health, and 8% attack, which is only 44 attack. And that's only to WeuWeu. It's not to the tasker nearby, it's only one. If you compare that to the only other 2 4-star minion makers, you've got Hertzfeld, who is yellow and he's slow, but he gives 3 minions, and they've got 10% HP, which is 130 health, and then 27% attack, which is 142 attack, so lots better than WeuWeu's minions. He also does damage and all of that as well. You've then also got Strawman. He's fast charge and only gives 1 minion to himself, but he gives 1 minion per kill, so there is that caveat that he has to kill someone in order to gain his minion. So his minions have 26% health, 18% attack, so you know that's 313 health and 101 attack, so they're quite a bit better than WeuWeu's minions. Yeah, so there's not much of a field to compare to, but what we've got, WeuWeu's minion is pretty terrible. Again, the attack ailment of -60 is only 11% of the average 4-star attack hero, so it's not bad, but again, literally any other attack debuffer does it better. in the 4-star region. So, you know, if you're looking at wanting an attack debuff, level Zuri. She does as much, if not more damage, if you're hitting an armored enemy, and has more of an attack debuff, and does it faster than WeuWeu does. So, you know, for me, the only real benefit that comes from WeuWeu is that you could eventually hit every enemy, or you could keep hitting the same enemy over and over again. So, yeah, the minion's not great on WeuWeu either, unfortunately. So overall, I would say for the damage, he's not a bad hero to level. But realistically, if you compare him to the other 5 green DOA heroes that you've got, or the other 4, sorry, you can pick any of those other 4, and you will end up probably better off than leveling WeuWeu. So realistically, if it was between Zuri and WeuWeu, I would level 5 Zuris, and I would still probably not pick WeuWeu if it was me personally. So yeah, unfortunately, none of these heroes are really out and out fantastic like we've seen with some of the other event seasonal summon portals. The best one for me, as I said, is Finlay in the 5 stars. If you get Delphine, she's also pretty good. Hanalei, as I said, could have some niche uses, but Hudson and Lana, I think, are pretty terrible. In the 4 stars, WeuWeu, I think, is outclassed by any other green 4-star attacking hero. Koa is okay, but again, most other red 4-star heroes are going to be more valuable. And Makani is quite a terrible blue sniper, but could have some interesting niche uses with that ailment, return, and do-over. So, yeah, that's my review of these heroes. I'd love to know what you guys think. You can either hit me via private channels and stuff, or you can leave comments on this video what you think about these heroes. Are there any specific combinations or applications that I might have missed or overlooked and not really paid much attention to that you think would raise the value of these heroes? I'd love to hear those. But yeah, that's my review. So I do have, you've probably noticed it throughout this video, I do have quite a lot of gold and also quite a lot of summons tickets available to use in this portal. However, unsurprisingly, given my tirade that I just did on all of these heroes, I am not going to use many of these tickets. I'm probably only going to do 30 or 40 summons, depending on how those go. So the heroes that I'd love out are not Famke, funnily enough. I'd love to get Finlay, probably Delphine, but I've got such a long list of purple 5 stars to level that I won't really miss her. You know, if I was to get any of the 4 stars, I wouldn't really cry if I missed any of them. So realistically, the only one I'd be ecstatic to get is Finlay. And then, yeah, the rest are pretty meh. The other one I'm really summoning for is Blockbuster. See the comments of this video for the review of Blockbuster and also the Weapon of the Month. They will be, if they're not up, they'll be up very soon. But yeah, so let's dive into these summons. Alright, so we'll start off, we're going to do 30 summons in total, maybe 40, see how we go. So yeah, let's start off with the 10x. I haven't done any summons in this portal, so any hero I get from this portal is going to be new. So far, we've only gotten vanilla heroes. All vanillas. Still vanilla. What? Famke. Vivara. Right. I think that's the end of the first one. So, of that is all food. So, 11 through 20. Alright, so we got Famke again. Gem. Sumi. Origin. No, so that's one that I think is very similar to Koa. Gem and Laszlo. Magnus. And Ingrid. Bonus draw? No bonus draw. So, more 3-star fodder and 4 stars. Not looking good. So I'm just going to try and waste a little bit of tickets in here. See if we can get Try and get rid of some... Oh, man, I just got... Oh, man. 3-star hero and a 3-star weapon back to back. If I'd done that in the portal, I might have gotten some 5-star heroes. Alright. So basically what I'm doing is it's a bit of a superstition, where if I can get a good run of RNG in this portal, I might have a decent run on the other portal as well. So I'm kind of just looking for a couple weapons in a row. So you got 2-star weapon, 2-star hero, 2-star hero, 2-star weapon, 2-star weapon. Alright. See if a little bit of RNG trickery works out. So, Leapfrog, Sanai, Flint, Quan, Sanai, Famke, Lana, Lot, Kasumi, Flint. More 4-star heroes, but none of the ones I actually wanted, or any event heroes. So far, 30 summons in this portal, and I've got a total of 0 event heroes at all. So I'll do the final 10, and call it quits after that. Makani! Wow, I got 1. Koa, 2. Back to back. Alright, that's probably the luck for this 10. All used up. But that's alright. I got a couple event heroes, so there we go. So we got Makani and Koa. Not disappointed that I didn't get WeuWeu or most of the legendary heroes. Would have been nice for collection's sake, but you know, yeah, honestly, if I'd gotten them, it probably would have been a very long time before I started leveling them. So that is it for this portal. I'm not going to be doing any more summons in this one. So all of the remaining tickets, those 31 that I've got there, I'm actually going to stash them away for the Christmas event. And then also going to stash any more elite hero tickets that I get. I'm going to stash them away and hopefully have quite a sizable amount by the time it gets time for Christmas, because I would love to get Rudolph. He is quite an amazing hero. If you got him and you haven't leveled him, I do not know what you're doing. You should be leveling him. But yeah, that's it for this video. As I said, in the comments section, hit me up if you think there's any niche applications or any application at all that I've missed with these summer event heroes. Who knows, you might be able to change my mind and I might come back and do a couple more summons for this portal. But as it stands now, that's it for this one. So if you like this video and you want to see more of hero reviews and that, make sure you say so in the comments, swing the video a like and that so I know what you guys are liking. And of course, hit the channel with that little subscribe button to get notifications of new stuff. But yeah, that's it for this video. Hope you guys did enjoy and hope it's been helpful. And I will see you guys in the next one. Cheers. Bye.